Clash Royale is taking a really interesting turn. Instead of consistently introducing brand new cards like before, Supercell is focusing on evolving the existing ones. Essentially, this adds new gameplay possibilities without creating separate standalone cards. And honestly, I think it's a pretty brilliant way to add more strategy and depth into matches. Today we're diving into the cards that absolutely need an evolution, the ones that should be getting upgraded in the next update, or at least very soon. Starting off with the Ice Wizard, who's one of the OG cards that have been added to the game since 2016. He was the second legendary to be added with Princess, and he's been kinda not the best, to say the least. Ice Wizard was unique back in 2016 because he was a legendary, and legendary cards back then had unique abilities which other cards couldn't replicate. But now in 2025, the rarities are just nothing at this point, and Ice Wizard is kind of outdated. So let's talk about his evolution, provided by ME Graphics. The first concept gives him the ability to create temporary bridges over the river. Even if the bridges didn't last long, this would make him far more useful as a support unit. I don't think it'd be too overpowered either, since enemy troops and princess towers would still keep units focused on their respective lanes. Now the question is, how often would players actually use this feature? That's kinda debatable. So here's another idea. What if we combined him with the freeze spell? Instead of his current small freeze effect on deployment, he could freeze enemy troops for the same duration as the freeze spell. This would give your troops more time to eliminate incoming enemies or help you defend a tower that's barely hanging on. The downside, of course, is that this might make the actual freeze spell redundant. You'd basically be getting two cards in one for much less elixir. So this idea would definitely need some balancing. Maybe the freeze duration could be reduced or its area of effect limited to make it fair. Or, and this might sound crazy, we could take it even further. Imagine combining 3 cards into one: Ice Wizard, Freeze, and Tornado, essentially creating a mini blizzard effect. It would look amazing, and it would make sense lore-wise too. After all, the Ice Wizard is Finnish, and blizzards are a pretty common sight in northern Finland during the winter months. There's also another concept idea made by Wampom1 on YouTube. Ice Wizard gets the ability to freeze the ground around him, or freeze the ground of where troops are standing, creating a little ice puddle beneath them, which would increase knockback from attacks that cause, knockback. While it is a funny idea, it could actually work out. Next up is everyone's favorite coward, the Prince. The first evolution concept created by ME Graphics is dazzling armor, and honestly, it fits the Prince's personality pretty well. His armor shines so brightly that it literally blinds enemy troops, throwing off their aim. It's more of a fun joke concept than a serious one, but it definitely adds to his flair. Now for a more serious take, a flaming spear. The Prince's lance ignites as he charges, leaving a fiery trail behind him. When he hits enemy troops, they take gradual burn damage over time. The best part? It makes sense in a goofy Clash Royale way. The Prince dashes so fast that his spear catches fire from the sheer speed. Sure, that's not how physics works in real life, but this is Clash Royale. Logic takes a backseat to fun. Or here's another idea, let the pony fight too. According to the lore, the pony is actually the brave one, dreaming of becoming a prince one day. So why not give him this moment? After the prince falls, the pony could continue the charge, dealing one last bit of damage before going down heroically. It sounds brutal at first, but come on, we've already got the Ram Rider's Ram, the Hog Rider's Hog, and even the Royal Hogs. It's right in line with the Clash universe's charm. We could also give him a knockback ability after charging into troops, which is also a great idea that just makes sense. You know expos, right? Annoying, but usually pretty easy to distract from your towers. Yeah, what if we made that a little bit harder? The first evolution concept tackles the biggest issue Expo users face. It's tunnel vision. Since it always locks on to the nearest target, it often ends up wasting shots on troops instead of damaging the Princess Tower. So what if one day we swapped out its regular bolts for Magic Archer's magic arrows? That way it could pierce through enemies and hit the tower behind them. Sounds kinda broken, right? Maybe a bit, but it would also force smarter troop placements from the opponent to properly counter it. Of course, to balance things out, the attack speed could be slowed down. We don't want an unstoppable laser machine on the field, at least not yet. The same concept was brought up by Mythic Royale on YouTube as well, which proves that this is a great idea indeed. Now, the second concept is a little bit crazier. Imagine if the Expo had the same ramp-up mechanic as the Little Prince. The longer it shoots, the faster it gets. Basically a defensive minigun. Keep it fair though, the faster it fires, the less damage each arrow deals, especially toward towers. Still, the overall DPS would end up being slightly higher than the regular Expo, rewarding players who can keep it alive for longer. The third concept by Me Graphics is giving Expo a shield, like the Evolved Wizard, which would prolong the life of the Expo. Since we're already talking about the Magic Archer, let's give him some love too. He's still cool, but let's be honest, a bit outdated these days. First concept, what if his arrows could ricochet off targets? I mean, just imagine his shots bouncing between enemies like a magical pinball. It'd look insanely cool and give him some extra crowd control flair. A second concept is double the arrows, double the style. He could fire 2 arrows at once, boosting his DPS and making him not just cool, but, double cool. But my favorite idea is the third concept. When his arrow pierces the first target, it splits into multiple smaller arrows that fan out at different angles, hitting the troops behind. It'd be perfect for breaking through those bulky tank pushes. There's really nothing like it in the game right now, well, unless you count Firecracker or Evo Bomber, but still, this would be something different, something fresh, and undeniably awesome. Next up is the cool purple goblin himself, the Bowler. Honestly, he's a fan favorite thanks to those goofy voice lines and his larger-than-life personality. But I feel like we could push him even further, make him funnier, more chaotic, and even more entertaining. First evolution idea is, what if instead of throwing bowling balls, he tossed golemites? I'm not kidding, it actually kind of fits his vibe. He's the kind of guy who would look at a rock, think, too basic, then grab a golem, squish it into a ball, and roll that instead. It sounds wild, but it could work. Of course, not full-strength golemites, that'd be way too OP, maybe weaker nerfed versions that deal less damage but still make a splash. Second evolution idea, courtesy of ME Graphics once again, make his bowling balls deal AoE damage by throwing them up instead of just rolling through enemies. It would give him some explosive flair and make him more effective against swarms. But the third idea might be the most interesting, giving his bowling balls gravity. Just like Valkyrie's spinning attack that pulls enemies in, imagine the bowler's boulder sucking nearby troops toward its path as it rolls. It would add a whole new layer of utility to his gameplay. Crowd control, disruption, and a touch of chaos, all in one throw. Another cool idea by Mythic Royale is the bowling balls slowing down enemy troops, which does make sense. I mean, you won't be running at the same speed after being hit by a massive rock, now would you? Next up, the last wizard brother who still needs some love, the Electro Wizard. He's one of the OGs of Clash Royale, and while he's still cool, he's been rocking that exact same ability since 2016. It's about time we spice things up a little, don't you think? Out of all the concepts I've seen, ME Graphics' second idea is easily my favorite, giving Electro Wizard an electrical radius that activates every time he zaps. It's such a clean, creative design that actually feels fitting for his evolution. You can totally imagine that electric pulse radiating outward, stunning everything around him. In Todd Howard's words, it just works. Another idea could be to combine him with the lightning spell, kinda like how we fused Ice Wizard with the freeze earlier. But of course, the same balance issues would pop up yet again. It'd be way too powerful without some serious tweaking. Still, the concept is awesome on paper, and with the right adjustments, it could absolutely shine. If it is too much, we could just give him the ability to zap not 2, but 3 troops instead, as suggested by Mythic Royale on YouTube. Speaking of him, he also had another idea. What if Electro Wizard spawned Electro Spirits, just like the Night Witch or Witch, but instead of bats and skeletons, boom, Electro Spirits. I think they're his creations anyway, so it would make sense. Another OG coming up, the Giant. He's a decent tank with decent DPS, quite a lot of HP, and he's a very versatile tank card in my opinion, but I think he can do more. So let's think about it. He's big, tanky, likes to punch towers and buildings. How about we give him a bit more health, and before dying, he might get enraged? I think it's a sweet and balanced idea. You know what else is a sweet and balanced idea? You scrolling on down and clicking that sub button. Honestly, clicking that one button, you help us out a ton to make more videos for you to watch, so it is a win-win. Go on, you got 5 seconds before Golem gets an evolution. Done? Sweet. Let's continue. Next on our list is another OG tank, the Ice Golem. To be honest, he's always been pretty one-dimensional. His whole job is to act as a meat shield, or I guess in his case, a snow shield. Sure, he's got that Death Nova and technically deals damage, but let's be real. It's basically 1 damage per slap, so yeah, he definitely deserves an evolution to make him a little bit more interesting. First concept, what if his regular attacks could freeze enemy troops? It's a simple tweak, but it instantly gives him more utility, actually slowing down enemies instead of just tickling them. Second idea, give him a freezing aura, a constant icy radius around him that slows down everything nearby. Imagine him waddling into a push, chilling everything in his path. That'd be such a satisfying defensive tool. Third idea, now here's a fun thought. He is a golem, right? And the regular golem splits into golemites when it's destroyed. So why not give Ice Golem his own little ice minions? Maybe ice golemites or even ice spirits that scatter out when he explodes. It'd be a cool, I guess pun intended in this case, Way to tie him closer to his rocky big brother while giving him some unique flair. If those are too much, then a regular free spell effect after his death could do the job as well, I guess. Elixir Collector is a unique and interesting card, but aside from heavy decks and maybe some spam decks, it kinda has no use, because all it does is sit in a corner, quietly collecting elixir until it expires or gets destroyed by the enemy. It would be awesome to see a redesign of the Elixir Collector at some point, and that is exactly what a community creator named CC Fun did. He actually made a full, high-quality animation showcasing an evolved version of the Collector, which is seriously impressive. I highly recommend checking out his work. His designs and evolution concepts are top tier. Alright, let's break down some Elixir Collector evolution concepts. The first concept, CC Fun gives the Collector a mini bow mounted on top. It turns from a passive elixir farm into a semi-defensive building that can actually fight back. It is a simple but smart idea. The Collector finally earns its place on the battlefield instead of just sitting quietly in the back corner. Second concept, things get wild. The Collector turns into a rocket when it takes enough damage. It launches toward the nearest princess tower, dealing impact damage and spawning 3 elixir blobs on landing. It's genius. You're investing 6 elixir into a building that usually gives you nothing when destroyed, but now even if it gets taken out, you're rewarded with both tower damage and elixir value. It's creative, balanced, and just plain fun. The third and final concept, and this one's a little bit more on the goofy side. Imagine a builder running around patching up the Collector as it takes damage. Definitely not the most balanced idea, but it's pretty hilarious to picture. Next up is one of my personal favorites, the Battle Healer. She's a healer, which already opens up a ton of possibilities, but imagine taking her to the next level. First concept, what if she could resurrect fallen troops? If she's near where a troop died, she could just snap her fingers, bring them back to life, or at least summon ghost versions of them. Full P.E.K.K.A.s or golems would probably break the game, so this way you get the fun without the chaos. Or second idea, let's bring back the heal spell, but make it special. It only drops when she dies. Just imagine that dramatic moment. She falls and suddenly a heal spell blooms, healing nearby troops. She'd instantly become one of the only cards capable of wielding this extinct ability, which is super exciting. And finally, a third concept, give her a healing stream, allowing her to heal allies from a distance. Kinda like Mercy from Overwatch or the Medic from TF2. Sure, it might be a little overpowered, but it's also incredibly fun to imagine, and it would make her feel completely unique. I wasn't planning on including this next one, but when I saw this idea, I just had to share it. You know how the Hog Rider can get pushed back by a log or slowed down on his way to the tower, right? Well, what if you could pre-map his path ahead of time? This is the evolution concept presented by Wampum1. And honestly, it's pretty brilliant. It's not just a unique ability for Hog Rider, it adds a whole new layer of strategy to the game. I know some players might push back, calling it unpredictable or random, but even if it never made it into the game, it's still an incredibly cool idea. Next up, Sparky. The community has come up with some really creative ideas for her, and honestly, they're worth exploring. First concept, presented by Wampum1, imagine if Sparky had a protective shield that could deflect all incoming spells and resist ranged damage. The catch? She loses the shield after firing once. It gives her a little extra time on the battlefield without being instantly reset. And hey, maybe the shield could even recharge over time, adding a dynamic twist to her gameplay. Second concept from Mehmet SK454 on YouTube, Sparky could have a spike above her that absorbs electricity. This would protect nearby friendly troops from enemy zaps, and maybe even lightning. It's a really clever idea that not only makes sense mechanically, but also fits perfectly with her electric theme, and I love it. Another concept from Mythic Royale is an electric radius which zaps everything around her like flying swarms, which would help out Sparky immensely. Next up is Royal Delivery. Not the flashiest card in the game, sure, but it is super versatile in a lot of situations. And since Royal Recruits have already gotten an evolution, why not evolve the Royal Delivery too? One idea comes from Mythic Royale on YouTube. Imagine delivering 3 evolved Royal Recruits in a single box. Yeah, it's a lot, but hey, that's evolution for you. If 3 feels like too much, dropping it down to 2 or even just 1 evolved Royal Recruit could work just as well. Or here's a wilder thought, forget recruits, why not deliver a princess straight onto the battlefield? Now that is what I call a real Royal Delivery. But we're not done yet though, because we could add a bit more to this wooden box. How about explosions? Everyone loves explosions. This concept idea was made once again by CC Fun on YouTube with an amazing animation. I highly recommend checking it out. Just maybe not the last one. That'd be too scary. Akin to the Royal Delivery, we have the Barbarian Barrel, which is kinda boring and just rolls out and that's it. But we can make him better. Just throw him. Yeah, literally, the concept idea brought by Mythic Royale is to throw the Barbarian barrel just like the Goblin barrel. It'd do impact damage, then roll, and then spawn a Barbarian. I actually really like this idea, more fun to be thrown than just to roll. Concept ideas brought by CC Fun yet again. This time we're talking about the skeleton dragons, which can get evolved in ways you probably never imagined. First concept is burning ground. After hitting enemy troops, these skeleton dragons would leave behind a flaming patch on the ground that deals damage over time. Kind of like a mini poison effect. It'd make them more threatening and add a lingering presence even after all their attacks stop. Or the fire damage could just, burn troops over time. That idea was provided by Mythic Royale. Second idea is skeleton dragon pups. Just like the lava hound who splits into lava pups, when a skeleton dragon dies, it could split into two smaller baby dragons. It'd be chaotic, adorable, and really fun to play, especially in swarm-heavy decks. And as for the third concept, alright, hear me out. Instead of splitting, what if they combined? They're literally just flying bones, right? So imagine that when both or just one dragon dies, they get resurrected into a single two-headed dragon. Twice the firepower, twice the chaos. It's weird, it's wild, but it totally fits Clash Royale's energy. Next up, the Giant Skeleton, the walking nuke himself. He's already one of the most iconic cards in the game, but there's still plenty of room to make him even crazier. First concept, give him a bomber riding on top, kind of like how the Goblin Giant carries spear goblins. The bomber could lob bombs at enemy troops in front of the Giant Skeleton, clearing the path before the big guy's bomb even drops. It'd make him both an offensive threat and a mini support card at the same time. Second idea, when he dies, instead of just dropping that big bomb, he could spawn evolved wall breakers that rush toward the nearest tower. It'd add an extra layer of surprise. Just when you think the danger's over, boom, here comes even more explosives. Third concept is a little wild. What if the Giant Skeleton could throw skeleton barrels either with his attack or at timed intervals? Picture him lobbing barrels across the bridge mid-match, sending waves of skeletons flying toward enemy troops and buildings. It'd be absolute chaos in the best way possible. Next up, the Graveyard. It's already one of the most unique spells in the game, but imagine if it got an evolution to make it even scarier. First concept, when activated, the Graveyard could damage enemy troops in its radius, kinda like an earthquake does. The ground would crack and rumble as the skeletons claw their way out, dealing small but consistent damage to anything unlucky enough to be standing there. It would make the spell feel more menacing, like the arena itself is turning against you. Second idea, instead of spawning regular skeletons, the evolved version could summon evolved skeletons. Faster, tougher, or maybe even ones that deal splash damage. Yeah, it'd be a little overpowered, but hey, Mega Knight and P.E.K.K.A got evolutions, so why not go big with Graveyard too? Next up, the Flying Machine, the ultimate mid-air menace that doesn't quite get the spotlight it deserves. But with an evolution, it could be terrifying. First concept, give its bullets a chain effect, allowing them to jump between multiple targets, kind of like a zap, but with mini cannonballs. It'd let Flying Machine handle swarms while still keeping that crisp, single-shot precision vibe. Second idea, when destroyed, the Flying Machine could spawn the Master Builder, a little guy who drops down with his hammer swinging, kind of like a lumberjack. It'd be a fun callback to the builder base with adding a surprise twist when the Flying Machine goes down. Third concept, make it fire multiple bullets at once, similar to the Hunter. This would increase its area damage and make it a real threat to clustered troops. Imagine a shotgun-style Flying Machine raining chaos from above. I could talk more and more about card evolutions, but there are some cards that need fixing first before they can get an evolution. So why don't you check out our video where we go over and fix every single useless card in Clash Royale. See you there.